Hi there. A little bit of a 4-minute late start there, 5 minutes. I couldn't break into that Big Runga song. Lovely track it is. I'm having a couple of headphone issues here at the moment. I don't know why. There's only partial sound coming through the headphones. That's no good. I hope everyone's having a good Sunday morning. Mine's not too bad. A good weekend. I'm still not getting very good sound out of these headphones, unfortunately. Disturbing me somewhat. I think they've been bumped a few times. So Sunday morning, what date is it? I knew what date it was the other day, but it's the 15th. There we go. Right, and we've got a bit of music to play today. I'll talk. There's some what's been happening in the world. Lots of things. Apparently, there's a lot of sea snakes turning up in New Zealand these days, in the far north mainly. But it's been attributed to warmer seas, possibly. Yellow-bellied sea snakes washing up on the beaches of Northland. A young kid took one to school around his neck. It was dead, but that's what you do when you're a kid. You find a dead sea snake, chuck it around your neck, and go to school. I probably would have done that myself if I'd found one. If I'd lived near a beach and been able to go to my school, it'd be all the rage. It'd be one of those things that the other kids would be like, "Hey mate, what do you got there?" And you'd be like, "Oh, it's a sea snake, I think." And apparently they're venomous, but if they're alive, I wouldn't recommend putting it around your neck. But yeah, it's where we're at with sea snakes presently in the far north. The All Blacks had a big win at Eden Park, 57-22, but I think the most notable thing about that match in the end was that the ground was half empty. And I read a good article on RNZ this morning talking about how it was basically because I think most punters saw it as a bit of a dead rubber, and it was at 7 o'clock at kickoff, which is not really family friendly, and they kept the prices up at some ridiculous amount just for a basic ticket. It was like $80 for a basic ticket, which is, for a game that you think the All Blacks are going to win comfortably, which they did, NZ Rugby should probably just go, hey, we'll make it half price, fill the stadium, make it an occasion, make it something for the folks to remember, for the All Blacks to remember for that matter. I'm sure they'd rather play in front of a full ground than a half empty one. But they are professional, so they just get about their business, and they won that game, didn't they? The other big news in sport, which, as we all know, sport is just a bit of a sideshow, bread and circuses for the masses to keep us preoccupied with from the real questions. But I'm a big fan of football in particular, and the English Premier League kicked off on our time Friday night, and Arsenal were unfortunate to lose to new boys Brentford, another London team, a bit of a London derby, and Brentford took them out 2-0. And a bit of a shock result, but not really a shock result if you follow football, because Arsenal have been a little bit underdone in the past couple of seasons, and they also were missing their two sort of talismanic strikers, or one talismanic at least, Aubameyang, and then Lacazette, who was sort of his deputy, were both out sick at short notice, which sort of threw things into disarray, I think, for them a bit. And then Brentford sort of capitalised on that, got 1-0 up, and then one of their centre-backs put his arms around the goalkeeper and stopped him from goalkeeping, and Brentford actually got away with that and got a second goal. So, but the big news for me as a Manchester United supporter is that Manchester United beat one of their very old rivals, Leeds United, 5-1 at Old Trafford, with Paul Pogba chiming in with 4 assists. Bruno Fernandes with a hat-trick. Mason Greenwood and Fred the Red got the other 2 goals. Cracking performance. Honourable mention to Luke Ayling for an absolute corker of a goal he scored for Leeds to actually equalise. And then the dismay on his face as United got 2 goals in the next 5 minutes was plain to see. I've lined up a bit of music for this week. Actually, I've every week that goes by, I'm sort of doing this and that at work, things like that, and listening to music, and then I think, hey, that's a good track for the radio show this weekend. So the first one up is going to be a track by a band that I've played before called the Lemonheads. They're a sort of a big band in the 90s. And lead singer Evan Dando, I don't know any of the other band members' names, but as a group, they're definitely a talented bunch of chaps, and they released a few good albums. This track here is pretty cool. I've always quite liked it. It's called Hospital. It's from their album. What album is it again? It's called I can't remember what the album's called. All of These Things Sank, possibly. But anyway, here's the track, Hospital by the Lemonheads. Check it out. See what you think. Yeah, so that's the Lemonheads with Hospital. He's He's got a nice voice, hasn't he, even Dando? Pretty good band. Check them out if you haven't heard much more of them. They're worth a listen. Sad news for Haiti after their president was assassinated recently, and now all of a sudden they've had this massive earthquake. So they really get knocked around over there, don't they? 227 dead. It's a bit of a sobering thing to see this morning. 7.2 on the Richter scale, which is a hell of a shake. We're lucky we haven't had one of those over here, actually, in the Shaky Isles. The pressure's building up and releasing, luckily, out in the ocean, apparently. There was an earthquake out off the east coast of the North Island only a few days ago. I got a Google alert about it, which I thought was quite funny. But wonder if I'd get a Google alert if there was an earthquake right under my house. Enough about earthquakes. There was some other tracks I'd listened to this week that I thought were worth having a listen to on the show today, and another one was a track, an older track. I do play a few older tracks now and again, and this one is one by a band that people would be familiar with, called Steely Dan. I quite like a bit of Steely Dan. And this track here is one that I don't know, I wasn't overly familiar with until recently, but it's actually sort of quite a good little number. So I'm going to chuck it on soon. I was hoping to go and talk to someone live, have a bit of a chat about what's happening in the Wellington football over the hill there in a few minutes, but it might not materialise, as I only decided to contact the person about half an hour ago, which is it's one of those spur of the moment things. But sometimes people are available, sometimes they aren't. This track here by Steely Dan is called Bodhisattva, and check it out. You might have heard it, or you might not have. I think it's quite good.
China, sparkle in your China.
Yeah, so that's Steely Dan Bodhisattva. If you didn't notice, it's sort of a bit of a parody on the way Eastern religion is viewed by people in the West, or at the time that it came out, it was sort of directed in that manner by the band. They were sort of taking the mickey a little bit out of some people who were maybe getting into Eastern religions like they were some sort of fad, possibly, I think, yes. Yeah, not a bad track, eh? It's all right, sort of upbeat. Sunday morning number. I did read something quite interesting this week about memory. These people who exist in our society who have these amazing powers of recollection. It's called, I don't know, like the actual full sort of photographic memory is called highly superior autobiographical memory, and it's that's only actually verified by this institution at the University of California. But there are people slightly, well, I don't know, you'd call it just below that, who have what they call superlative memory, and that is the ability to recall things after only seeing or being told them once or twice, basically. Yeah, quite a good little story, quite interesting to see what some people are capable of. There was one woman that this guy interviewed that she knew the hottest and coldest temperature in every country in the world ever recorded, just off the top of her head, which is pretty cool. She can also name the longitude and latitude of every major city in the world, and yeah, pretty impressive. And doesn't really need to practice, she said in the interview. Just has this ability to recall information. If anyone is interested in reading that article, it's quite a good read. There's another guy in there who knows every Christmas number one song since 1972 and can say them all chronologically and sing, and he does actually sing them on a YouTube video. The article is called "What's It Like Living with Phenomenal Memory and Can It Be Learned?" And that's on the Guardian website, if you want to check that one out. It's pretty cool. Quite a good article. Quite like the Guardian, even though I do have friends who sort of decry its left-leaning values, but I'd have to say in a lot of ways the Guardian is still a pretty impartial paper, really. I mean, it's not sort of, I suppose it does, in a news sense, possibly have like a slight lean towards the left in some way, but pretty trustworthy and impartial news source, in my opinion, and does have a lot of good writers and interviews working for them. But yeah, some more music. I don't think this call that I was planning on doing is going to materialise, so we'll have to continue ourselves with listening to more music. And I did have another good song. I think I played it earlier this year, but then I heard it the other day again, and I thought, no, I haven't played this one before, actually. This is by a group called Being, who I'm pretty sure are New Zealanders. I think they're called Being Band NZ. Let's see what that comes up with. It comes up with nothing. Okay, right. Being full stop. Is that the band name? Let's have a look. Enter. No, that's shift. Okay, good. No, I can't find that either. Well, apparently they're called Being with a capital BEING full stop, and the song is from the soundtrack of the movie Corduroy Cape, I think. Maybe it's not a soundtrack, maybe it's just a mixtape of New Zealand artists. But anyway, I thought it was pretty cool. I heard it the other day. I'll try and find out more about the band Being while we're listening to this track. Check it out.
wash clear my mind, surrender my burdens to ocean's tides. We'll be citizens, we said, weaving our bodies into beds of sand. Open my hands to a weight of gold, too much to hold, too much to hold. Mold our frames in the rock face, leave our mark so we can stay till tides wear us out and we'll escape. I saw the sun, his eyes gleam bright, too much to take in from beauty in his sight. One day's just the same, waves lap round trying to free my mind. Falling for the light, molding to this cliffside, falling to the sea. Oh, I'll be here always. Falling for the light, molding to this cliffside, falling to the sea. Oh, I'll be here always. Oh, I'll be here always. Oh, I'll be here always. I'll be here
Yeah, so that was Being, a New Zealand band who I can find no information on, unfortunately, online, which is quite odd in these info-saturated times we live in. It is odd to find a band that doesn't want to be found. I quite like that. They're a bit of an enigma, as it turns out. Yeah, it's good to have enigmas. I thought I'd actually picked a lot of music for the weekend show, and as it turns out, yeah, I suppose there's a little bit there. We could go with a bit of this is a track that came out I don't know, about 10 or 12 years now. I think this album came out, and I was initially not that excited about it, considering I'd been a fan of the band that had released the music for about, I don't know, a long time, in 2009 or whenever it was, probably about almost 15 years. Radiohead was the band, and the album was what's it called? King of Limbs. It grew on me a bit, and I ended up, I listened to it a lot. And I was actually painting a house in Newlands, I think it was, or somewhere over there near Porirua. This old sort of cedar house that had needed restaining. And I earned a bit of money, and me and my partner Emma Jane, we went to Bali for my dear friend Carl's wedding, and had a great time over there. And I remember listening to King of Limbs while I was painting this house, earning a bit of dosh to go on my Bali holiday, and this song here I quite liked, and I think a few people out there might enjoy it too. It's called Feral, and it's from King of Limbs by Radiohead. Check it out. Yeah, Feral by Radiohead. Interesting thing, that song doesn't actually have any words in it, but it does have vocals. Yeah, quite a quirky little number. Definitely an interesting band. I've always been interested in the music they've delivered. Really enjoyed Kid A when it came out quite a few years ago now. It's a good album to check out if you haven't heard it. Yeah, I've got more music actually, and this is a track by a group that became quite prominent in, I suppose, 2000 actually. Yeah, 2000 and 2000. Nah, 2001 possibly, I think, was when they really blew up. But yeah, they're a pretty good band that I'm quite a fan of, and a good Sunday morning number for 11:07 on the 15th of 2021 August. Check this one out, Better Living Through Chemistry by Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah, that's Queens of the Stone Age, Better Living Through Chemistry. Yeah, so I just saw that not much has been going on around anywhere. In fact, I think everything's ground to a halt throughout the universe and on planet Earth. I was just wondering about that earthquake in Haiti, 7.2 on the Richter scale. I wonder if anyone's going to start attributing earthquakes to climate change. That's when, that's going to be a funny moment if that actually happens. Or maybe it already has. I'd have to, it might be worth a quick Google, actually. Are earthquakes being attributed to climate change? I'd be interested to find out more about that, because I'm sure there might be someone out there who's making the connection. However tenuous it may be, or hey, maybe climate change does cause earthquakes. One way that I've always looked at it is that the Earth is a thing that's going to be here, and it has been here, and it was here a long time before humans, and it could well be here for a long time afterwards. And looking at the biological systems of the planet Earth, it probably will actually just regenerate itself once humans have either left the planet or all died, and then you'll have a new Earth. Well, that's the way I look at it anyway, because it's not really. What if the scientists have projected that the planet Earth has some sort of multiple billion year lifespan ahead of it still, despite the torrid time that our burning and making of crappy things is giving it at the present. This is top-notch radio right here, folks. And I do have more music, and here it comes. This is a track. It's a very old track, in fact. I'll play probably quite a lot of it. It's good. I could play it all. There might be someone out there who wants to listen to it all. It probably is. It's Nocturne in G Major by Frédéric Chopin, played by who's it played by? Vladimir Feltzman. This is a goodie. I quite like this one. Heard it the other day and thought that's a good one to play on Sunday morning. So here it is, Nocturne in G Major, Frédéric Chopin, played by Vladimir Feltzman. Radio Edit. Good, lovely tune, that one, though. I quite enjoy it. So the bad news is, folks, is that climate change is linked to earthquakes. Earthquakes are linked to climate change, apparently. I've just found this article online. Presents a pretty, it's not solid science, but, it's just a theory, and you can see from what they're saying that there is some sort of, there's a possibility in it, basically, that climate change, the rising oceans are going to lessen the weight around the crust of the ocean, apparently, which is something they're saying, and then which will in turn mean that it could possibly unclamp the tectonic plates in areas where humans are settled, or even release the pressure on volcanoes, and then which could then erupt. It's all a bit of a lot of sort of conjecture there, but hey, well, why not? There's sort of, what is it? We're obsessed with cataclysms as humans. Apparently, it's one of those things that's been going on for thousands of years, is people talking about how the world's going to end. It's not a new thing. Perhaps now, though, it is. I'm not sure if I believe the people who are sort of like the world's going to end in 10 years. I'm finding that one hard to believe. Or even 20, 30 or 40 or 50. It's one of those things that they've been saying for about 5,000 years, I'm pretty sure, that the world's going to end. And maybe the world has ended a few times for some of those people who said that the world was going to end. No doubt it did end for the individuals who said that it was going to end, because they're dead. Climate change and earthquakes. Wow, how about that? That's a new one for me this morning. I don't know if I want to take that too seriously. I don't take a lot of that stuff very seriously, to be honest. It's like COVID. I mean, sort of illnesses should be taken seriously, definitely. But at the same time, you don't want to get consumed with it. Let it take over your life. I know of a few people, some of them who I hold in quite high regard, who have really let this COVID thing get on top of them, like the conspiracy side of things, and apparently, someone's out there trying to knock us off with a virus or vaccine or whatever, and it's like, okay, mate, if you say so. And then, you get the other side of that where people are just absolutely terrified of the virus itself, and it's like, well, it's an airborne virus, so if you get it, you might get it, so you can't be too terrified of it, because, I suppose scientists have said that there is a possibility that fear something that contributes to illness. So, if you're afraid of the virus and you get the virus, you're not in good shape there, I'd say, folks. But here's another song. It's a little bit more upbeat than the last one, and it's it might be a bit of a shock for anyone out there listening who's just chilling out on a Sunday morning doing the crossword. But I don't know, I'd say have a listen. It's pretty funny. These guys are from the United States. They're called Pissed Jeans is the name of the band. And this song is called False Jesse Part 2. It's a bit of an upbeat number, pretty funny. Got a bit of yelling and stuff in it. I'm a big fan. Check it out. So yeah, that's False Jesse Part 2, Piss Jeans. Sorry to those out there who may have gotten a fright from that one. Well, I'm a big fan. I love that sort of dropping guitar riff in the chorus, and yeah, that's sort of just taking the piss a little bit there, I think, Piss Jeans. And I'm a big fan of bands that take the piss. I'm a big fan of serious bands too, but bands that take the piss. I mean, are you allowed to say piss on Arrow FM? Well, the band's called Pissed Jeans, and yeah, I suppose it is a little bit uncouth, really, to say that word. But these are uncouth times that we live in. And in uncouth times, occasionally you will have to deal with the uncouth. Yeah, so I've got more music, and I'll play something a little bit more relaxed. It's by a band that some of you may have heard of called Slayer, and it's Raining Blood. Could play that right now, and then, but probably following on from Piss Jeans False Jesse Part 2, it might be a little bit much for listeners out there. So we'll just dial it back a little bit, and we'll put something a little bit more, I don't know, slightly more relaxed, but possibly more odd. Yeah, check this one out. This is by Carl Craig, an English DJ. It's called Demented. Yeah, interesting track. I'll play, I think it's quite long. I'll play some of it. Here it is. It's quite an interesting piece of music, this one, by Carl Craig, and we're going to segue straight into a track by New Zealand hard sort of heavy metal band called Alien Weaponry. It's a track I heard earlier this week. It's called Ahi Ka. Check this one out. Pretty good. This band, I'm pretty sure they're from possibly up north, if I'm guessing rightly. I'll confirm that. But here they are, Alien Weaponry. Yes, that's Ahi Ka by Alien Weaponry. The song itself is about a rather unfortunate moment in New Zealand history where the Auckland City Council kicked out the Ngāti Whātua people from their village at Okahu Bay and burned the village to the ground in preparation for a royal visit by Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah, nice one, Auckland Council. Yeah. Not an episode they'll remember fondly, I'd say, these days. Yeah, you've got to... I mean, that's in 1952. I mean, that's New Zealand though, isn't it? We have a lot of dirty secrets, so people don't like to talk about these things, and they like to complain about the use of the word Aotearoa to name this country instead, and call for referendums on such things when, it's a pretty minor allowance. Or I think it's quite insulting as someone of Māori heritage. Proudly Māori I am, Ngāti Mahuta and Ngāti Raukawa. And yeah, it is reasonably insulting to have people complaining about the use of the word Aotearoa after things like this episode in Auckland there with Ngāti Whātua being kicked out of their village and having it burned to the ground in front of them because the Queen was popping over for a visit from Buckingham Palace. I mean, that just underlines the idiocracy that used to be in charge of this country, and just the racism that existed and still does in this country, unfortunately, even though people like to pretend that it doesn't. It's not quite as bad as some places, but that doesn't make it good, does it? Good track though. Talented band, Alien Weaponry. They've really made a name for themselves in Europe and the United States already a bit. They've toured some festivals in Europe and got a following over there, and they're doing pretty well locally. They're, I think, they're definitely, one of the best heavy bands I've ever heard come out of New Zealand. I won't play another track by them. I'll play another track here by... no, maybe I won't. I won't play that, actually. It's probably a little bit... It's got some swearing in it and so on. And, you don't want to bloody shock people too much on a Sunday morning. I will play something else again from an album that I'm a big fan of, and a band that I'm a big fan of. They no longer exist as a band, but they released a few good albums, and I think I played one of the intro tracks last week if anyone was listening, but this is the one. I hope this is the right one. I'm pretty sure it is the track that I was listening to the other day that I thought that's a really cool track, and quite funny and reminiscent of earlier New Zealand pop music. This is the Mint Chicks with She's Back on Crack. Oops, we went slightly over there into the next track. But yeah, that's a good one, eh? She's Back on Crack. Reminds me of, it's sort of one of those tracks that you can sort of see sort of the I don't know, earlier styles of New Zealand music coming through into the later age, and I quite like how the Minchicks did that in their own particular way, in their own unique and particular way. I did read a cool article recently about robot weed killing, which is all the rage now, apparently. There's this company in the United States that builds these called Carbon Robotics, and they build these sort of wheeled robots with engines and laser beams that drive around paddocks killing weeds, and they can kill 100,000 weeds an hour with these laser beams just driving along, which is pretty. It's quite impressive. So these robot weed killers are apparently going to be a good way to lessen or even eliminate pesticides, which is good news for the environment out there, for the creepy crawlies. I've always been a little bit disappointed that there's so much sort of by-kill in terms of insects related to pesticides. Insects are weird and wonderful things. I'm a very big fan of them, even though they're a little bit scary in some ways. Wonderful creatures. I did see a big wetter the other day at our house. Well, not a giant one, but a good size. It was one of those Wellington ones, I think. And they're a reasonable sized insect, and quite marvellous to look at. I picked them up and took them out into some wood to are they androgynous wetters? I don't even know. Possibly male and females. But dropped it off in the wood, in a little bit of wood, and it sort of made its way off, crawling away. And the good thing about a robot weed killer is that the robot's not going to kill that wetter if it sees it. It's going to go, do not laser beam the wetter, because it'll have that programmed into it. And I think that is progress. And, you may worry about, people's jobs being taken by robot weed killers, but they're not really, are they? I suppose we're just taking the job of a sort of horrible poison, which I suppose the people who make the horrible poison will no longer have a job, but maybe they could get into robotics. It's an avenue they could pursue, perhaps. Got another song for the show today, and it's an old track again. It came out almost 20 years ago now, this album, and I was a fan of it when it came out. I played it quite a bit. There were a few tracks that I thought on it that were duds, but this one here I think is pretty cool. It's called The Freshmaker. It's from P Money's album Big Things that came out in the year 2002. This track is P Money DJing with Scribe rapping, as were a lot of the tracks on the album, pretty much all of them, because it was P Money's album and Scribe was helping him do it along with several others. But this track here is called The Freshmaker, and it's an upbeat, good number. I quite like. It's got some good samples in it. Check it out.
Excuse me, but what's the bong bong?
It's the drum.
Oh!
No bong there, I have to go straight on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bong, 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 bong. Ha, ha, ha.
Can I put in the bongs?
Yes, do. I'll start again.
Oh!
1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. Mic check. 1, 2. Y'all know the who. Yo, I want everyone to put their hands together for DJ P Money. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. P-Money the fresh maker, the champion, free time, ITF taker. Magic like a liquor when upon the crossfader. You can hate it or you won't, we're staying motivated. You're the man, so what's the issue? Third in the world, now it's official. I'm glad the majors didn't get you. Independent on mission, worldwide from call transmission. In my prime, full of ambition. Out of your league, not even the same division. The MC realm representative needs turntablism. Get off your ass and stop sitting and just do it. It's for the love of music. Hip hop, we celebrate it while lovers abuse it. That's how we'll never lose it. That's how we choose to use it. That's how we show and prove it. Scribe and P the new shit. Yo, P Money 2002. You never knew why we did what we had to do. To make it through, we keep it true and original. Step up a level so that you can get a better view. Now you can't front like you never knew. Y'all know the school.
No bong there, I have to go straight on.
Yeah, so that's Freshmaker, P-Money and Scribe from the album Big Things 2002. Not a bad album, and there's a few, maybe 3 or 4 other quite good tracks on that. There's a couple that I wasn't too much of a fan of, but yeah, all in all, it's not a bad. I actually really like that track. I think it's very inventive and fun, and I quite like P-Money and Scribe for that sort of energy that they brought to New Zealand music for a good time. Yeah, I mean, we're almost coming up to the end of the show for today. I did have one more track I could play, actually, that I was going to play earlier, but it's another electronic tune, I suppose. Similar, not in any way similar to any other piece of music I've played today, I don't think. But I do really like this track. It's by an artist that I was lucky enough to see live a couple of years ago, and he put on a really quality show actually at the Mission Estate in Napier. I saw him, Fatboy Slim. This is a track that certainly isn't as popular as some of his big radio hits, but it's still sort of I think it's quite indicative of his style in some ways, that not getting away from the big pop numbers that he did, or the big I mean, Bird of Prey was another track that he did with the Jim Morrison vocal that sort of was quite popular, but really was more showed sort of what he was about a bit more musically than some of the other tracks that were quite big, like Praise You and ones like that. And yeah, this track is called Nuff of Nup. Yeah, it's by Fatboy Slim. Check it out. Nuff of Nup. Yeah, so that was Enough of Nut by Fatboy Slim to round out the show for the day. That's pretty much it. We're almost at 12, and that is nearly the end. There was a track that I was going to play today as well, and I haven't actually played it. It's called Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots by the Flaming Lips. And I could probably play a couple of minutes of it, actually, because the show's not quite over, so I will. And here it is, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots by the Flaming Lips.
She's a black belt in karate, working for the city. She has to discipline her body, 'cause she knows that it's demanding to defeat those evil machines. I know she can beat them. Oh, Yoshimi, they don't believe me, but you won't let those robots eat me. Yoshimi, they don't believe me, but you won't let those robots defeat me. Those evil-natured robots, they're programmed to destroy us. She's gotta be strong to fight them, so she's taking lots of vitamins, 'cause she knows that it'd be tragic if those
Radio edit. That's the show, folks. Have a good week.
If you have specialist knowledge on any subject, or you're a member of a community group who would like to get your message on the air, phone us here on 378-0255 or call into the station at 92 Queen Street. We'll help you develop a program and get your message out there.
We came home early, hoping to catch you unaware. A little